welcome to the Golden Hour. I am Golden Duffy, your host. This is also the Manifest to Live Life Golden podcast. We are on season 2, episode 34. When you're sick and tired of making resolutions, do this instead. I've got a lot of good information coming through. Happy New Year, first of all. I feel like I haven't been here in forever. I had family here from the 22nd to the 5th. So it was a few weeks of just fun and family and laughter and really, really, really good stuff. Just, it was so good. Such a good holiday season. Probably one of our best. I really feel like it was one of our best. I was super present, super aware the whole time, and felt no stress, really, honestly. I mean, having a lot of people in your house is really interesting, and all the different personalities, especially when they're all your children, that is subject, but there was no big fights. Everybody seemed happy. Everybody seemed satisfied. And I just checked that off as success in the Duffy family for Christmas and New Year's of 2023, 2024. So what's happening right now? There is a huge renewal of energy. If you follow the planetary cycles, I'm not going to get into it. That's not my deal. I'm not into, I don't really promote the astrology piece of this, except to say the way that I feel is definitely indicative of what's going on astrologically in the planets and the new energy field that we come upon with every new year. The reason why there's a new energy field is because of the way that we all enter into the new year. We leave 2023 behind, we leave all the energy behind, and we decide that this year is going to be something new. Now, the reason why many people recreate the same year after year after year, and you'll hear people say it all the time, this was the worst year. They'll take the whole year and just throw it down the tanker, even though I am sure some good things happened in their life. And even in the contrast, even in the challenges, really good stuff is coming. It's happening for you. It's creating new desires. It's creating clarity. It's creating the energy that you need to manifest the next thing that you want in your life. What really trips people up in the resolution game and in creating a new identity. That's what we're going to talk about today, creating a new identity. I've done shows on identity creation before. This one is definitely a little bit different. I've got some new information that's coming through, and my channel is just wide open. I'm actually writing another book right now, and it's coming through like fast and furious. I think I spent 2 hours writing this morning. I normally do the first book that I wrote, which I don't have on me right now, is Mindful Manifestation Secrets, just Mindful Manifestation Secrets. That's the first book that I wrote. That book came very similar to this one, where it was like every day. I actually walked into the identity of being an author. I was like, if I was an author, what would I do? And I was like, duh, I'd write every day. So I wrote like it was my job. I sat down every day and I wrote for like 6 or 7 hours. This one feels a little bit different, where I'm actually getting messages through my dreams. So I have this dreamscape thing going on, and I'm actually sharing the messages that are coming through. Really not anything I've ever experienced before. And the messages are fire. They're absolutely they're lighting me on fire. They're so amazing, and so what we need to take the next up level. So the energy that I'm feeling right now is full. It's ripe with up level. My family, everything that's going on in my own house feels like there is this really charged energy. My husband and I, actually this weekend, and this is what happens with Christmas stuff, of course, but this felt a little bit different this time around, putting all the Christmas stuff away, just cleaning the house, scrubbing things down. We washed windows yesterday that we maybe have never washed. I don't know. It's been a while. We have washed windows since we've lived here, but it definitely has been a while. And so everything is crisp and clear and clean, and it's ripe for creating. So if you are feeling some energy around, if you're not feeling this energy of like excitement and wanting things to change and feeling the ability to change it, start by cleaning out your surroundings. Start by cleaning out drawers. Start by, vacuuming under things, move the energy field. Dust particles alone are not good for us. Like, think about it. When dust settles, it means that something has not energetically been touched or moved, or it's stagnated, right? Like, that's what happens when we have a lot of dust in the air. And the dust in the air has allergens in it and has all sorts of things. So when you start moving energy and you start clearing dust and start clearing energy, like old energy, like look at all the things in your house and ask yourself, why do I have this? Does this bring me joy? Or is this just an item that I've held on to because it's got some history involved in it? But actually, every time I look at it, it doesn't really elevate my feelings. It actually brings me down. If you have stuff like that in your house, let's start getting rid of it. Let's start detaching from it. Let's start, really clearing your space. I did something kind of cool. My oldest daughter was here who builds furniture, and I had requested, because my husband made me this gorgeous walnut table for my new outdoor room. And he actually made us, oh my goodness, he's so amazing. He made us all cutting boards for Christmas, like custom. He made me 3 amazing cutting boards. And then he made, okay, that's not him. I thought he was calling. I was like, that would have been weird if he was calling. And then he made these things underneath my cabinets to like hold them. Oh, so cool. And gave us loving messages on everything that he made and gifted to us. And it was really special. So I'd asked my daughter if she could turn some of the leftover walnut into another table for me, because I had this table in my house. I've had this table. It was the first piece of furniture that we bought when we moved to California to hold our television set in our apartment when we first moved here. And it was too small for the TV. I'm not even kidding you. So my husband put like a piece of wood on top of it, and it was turquoise. It's a turquoise color. I was totally into blues and turquoises when I first moved here. The beach life. So we had a piece of wood on this thing for the longest time until we could afford to buy something else for the television. So I've kept this table around, and it's usually like in my entryway and, holds some things. And I've had it in this one spot for a really long time, since we moved into this house 5 years ago. And I had a square mirror on the top of it. And I've recently gotten into No Demo Reno with Jen Todrick, and oh my gosh, I love this show. I've watched every episode. She's just hysterical. I just love her. And I follow her on Amazon. In fact, these are earrings she told me to buy, and I bought them. And I just bought these other really cute lamps that are like rechargeable. They're wireless for my fireplace. Anyways, on a tangent. So my daughter and I were talking about it. I was like, I really want a circle mirror. I'm going to get a big circle mirror with a gold frame. And I found this beautiful mirror, super cheap at like Marshall's for $40. And my daughter was like, we're looking for a table, because she's like, building a table, like there's so much to it. And that walnut is really heavy. I don't think it's going to work there. She goes, why don't we just look for something and buy something and make it work? So we looked around. Everything out there is just junk. Like, when you have real beautiful furniture that is like handmade, anything else is just going to fail in comparison. And to find the right size, the right height, the whole thing, she's like, well, why don't we take that table and paint it? And I was like, oh, you know what? There's this green color that I'm super in love with, this jade color. It's called, it's called Congo in spray paint. And I had spray painted something else with it. So we sprayed that, and then we did the balls of the table in gold. And let me just tell you, that one little change in my house has just brought me so much joy. I can see it from the kitchen. I can pretty much see it wherever I am. And it opened the space up, and it made it look so wide and so beautiful. And I'm telling you, it cost me $40 for the mirror, $20 for the paint. And my daughter's labor. She's amazing. She did it for me. I mean, I could have done it, but I'm really not into that at this point in my life. So she loves doing it. We did it together. It was so fun, and it's gorgeous. So you can do these little things, like take a piece of something that you have and beautify it. That will raise your vibration. So I promise you, I'm getting into the resolution thing, but this is really about your space and getting the feeling of that energy field moving in your space. Now, if you've done resolutions and you're done, like you're just sick of them, you've done them for a long time, you'll resolve to do something. And I actually looked up the meaning of the word resolve, and that meaning actually means, because I was like, resolution, resolve, I like to take like the root word of what we're working with. It's to decide firmly on a course of action. So many of us go into the new year with a course of action. We're like, okay, that's it. I'm going to let go of sugar. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to stop drinking so much alcohol. I know a lot of people do dry January. We are actually doing the same. Dry January, maybe beyond. I don't know. It feels so good to just clear the field of alcohol. And honestly, I did really well. This holiday season was probably the greatest I ever did because I just didn't really want it the way I, like normally I think that the trigger for me with drinking is definitely like everybody's together and it's really stressful and my physical body gets tired because there's so much that I have to do with cooking and keeping the house, semi less chaotic. And the energy and the personalities and all of that. But this year I felt so calm that I didn't have to resort to that. But it does feel good to just completely clear the field. The sugar, got a little sugar monster going on, so I let that go. So, it's easy to go, all right, it's January 1st, let's go. Get back to the gym. The gym goes crazy. And really what I decided this year was not about resolutions, because resolutions often can have that excitement of the new year. And then once you start getting into the reality of it and it starts to be a little uncomfortable, or it starts to feel, where you're like, oh, I'm going to give myself a break. It's very easy to get out of those resolutions because you haven't fine-tuned your vibration or your identity to those things. So once you get a little bit of space away from the excitement, what happens is your mind starts to kick up, because remember, your mind is here to keep you safe and the same. So if you start doing these new things, right, and calling it outside of its comfort zone, then eventually, once you have a little bit of wiggle room in there, you're not so like gung-ho and like, I'm doing this, right? Your mind is going to kick up and talk you out of it. I had my mind talk me out of going to the gym this morning. It was really interesting. And today was the day for me because my company just left last week and it didn't feel right to me, right? It wasn't my mind. I checked in. I really checked in. And I noticed the resistance of my mind was not what was keeping me from going. It was actually the plan of the day. Like what I've been doing is, and I'm going to teach you this little practice of going into your heart and asking your heart what you really feel strongly towards. Like, what is your highest excitement? Because that highest excitement will drive really good behaviors. And I'm going to share what happened today with that for me. It's a little bit of a shift from maybe what you're used to, which is like, I'm committing to this and I'm not going to, I'm not going to give in to the mind and all of this. This is more of a heart-centered way of living your life, where you are really tapping in to what you feel, to what feels good, to what feels right in the moment. It won't always be this driving force. I mean, for a long time, if you've been listening to me for a while, for a long time, my driving force was HIIT workouts every single day. And it wasn't necessarily good for me. It was more of just a habit of overriding my feelings and my mind because I was determined to be strong, healthy, and fit. Now, by not connecting with my heart and my true feelings, I was actually doing my body a disservice by working it out so hard. I had a lot of injuries. I really wasn't losing weight because I was just on this little stress train of cortisol, running cortisol through my body and not accepting anything, but I gotta go. So I'm going to share that with you because it's an intricacy in resolutions. It's an intricacy in becoming a new identity where you don't just say you're going to do something that fades within a week or two. You're actually becoming something, so that even if your intuition tells you don't go to the gym today, that habit is already instilled. So the next day you're feeling it once again. So that's the difference, because if you're not aligned with it vibrationally and you're really just trying and you're in the energy of desperation, it's not going to last, because our natural state of being is well-being. Our natural state is joy. It's well-being. It's what really feeds us. It's not necessarily going to the gym and working out really hard and making life suck. That's not what it's about. It's about what feeds me right now into my highest vibrational setting. And I'm going to go over those things with you and the way to set this up so that you can be your most successful. All right. So the reason you may fail, okay, at resolutions, we'll go into the reasons that you may fail. I'm going to give you ways to actually super succeed. And then I'm going to get into ways to raise your vibration on the daily so that life can become better and better and better. And I'll share some personal things that have happened recently where I had real connection to what I've been doing and why it's working so well and how you can do it too. All right, so there's a few reasons. If you're only making changes on the outside, you're using your will. Your will is only strong enough when you are in a state of determination, which is January 1st, right? We're in a state of determination. We're sick of ourselves. We're ready to make some changes, and we're doing this. So the excitement is actually the driver. When the excitement dies down, that's when your mind kicks up. Your mind kicks up and tells you, you don't need to do this anymore. You went for like 5 days. You're good. You're good. Who do you think you are? Right? That's your mind. Your mind telling you don't need to do that. It's too cold outside. That sort of thing. Wherever you work to change, whenever you work to change, your mind is always going to try to talk you out of it, because it's a disengagement from the program. You've been programmed in certain ways. You have habitual loops and patterns that you have been programmed to. So the second that you don't feel like it, you will begin to quit. That's it. The second you don't feel like it, you start caving into the mind's insistence. That's when you start to quit. Change is about identity creation. So if you want to make real, long-lasting changes, you have to work in the framework of who you are, not what you do, but who you are. Good stuff. It's really good stuff. And it's really impactful when you really start to understand this. My hair's sticking up. When you really start to understand this in a way that allows you to work with it, like to really work with the energy field, your life becomes more ease and flow and more choice. You have more choice because you're not just in this automatic program of, I have to work out. I have to do this. I'm going to, if I don't do this, I'm going to get fat. Like all those different ways that the mind just rails on you and doesn't allow you to get into those higher frames of mind where you're in appreciation, you're in joy, you're in love, and you're in excitement more often. So instead of making resolutions, instead of having, working from a resolve, deciding firmly to take a course of action, this is more about starting with who you want to be. So it's addressing that inner desire that's within you that wants to formulate manifestation, that inner desire. I was reading last night Infinite Potential by Neville Goddard, and super dense book, we'll call it. It's good to help you fall asleep. But he was saying that our desires are literally God talking through us. That's God expressing through us. Many people will say, if it's God's will, let it be done. And it's like, no, we're in a co-creative partnership here. So as we have desires, those desires actually create. I had an interesting situation. I'm going to share exactly what you need to do for this, but I wanted to share a little bit because I had some new downloads about sadness. So my daughter left on Friday, and her husband, and my daughter and granddaughter came before them left in the middle, and then they stayed after. So we had company for a couple of weeks. So I have not been alone in weeks, and I spend most of my day alone, and I love it. I really do. I love creating. I love writing. I love going to yoga. I love meditating. I love all of it. I love being in my house by myself. I love making muffins. I love all of it. She leaves, and one of my practices, and I've shared this on other shows, is to not give in to sadness, because sadness, missing people is a waste of energy, because you're really not being grateful for the time that you just spent with them. But I got hit hard with some sadness after I dropped them off at the airport. And I really, really struggled that day. And I got the message that sadness, anytime a sadness is evoked within you, grief, missing someone, regret about a relationship that ended, anything like that, wishing that things were the way they used to be, all of that sadness is for a good reason. And that reason is that it activates desire within us. So by not ever allowing myself to be sad, and I won't say that I've never allowed myself to be sad with her not living near us. I have chosen the higher road to just be grateful. So there was that little pocket there, and I realized that desire drives us being back together. So pay attention to those moments of sadness and ask yourself what it's calling you to. What is it that you need to grasp from this? Because if you're sad about something that's ended, or a family member who's passed away, I know a lot of people were saying actually that the holidays were going to be hard for them because of people that they don't get to spend it with anymore. And I get that, man. We used to have 40 people over our house every Christmas. So I totally understand that. But allowing that energy to manifest something new for you, allowing that energy to manifest that love in a different expression. So because you experienced that love, that community, those people in your life, you know what it feels like, and therefore you have the ability to manifest it once again. It may be different than it was before, but the feelings will be the same. The feelings will appease the sadness. The feelings will heal the sadness when you allow yourself to let go, to move through that sadness so that something new can come. I hope that makes sense. Because, allowing yourself to feel these things moves them through you. When you're fighting them, when you're in resistance to them, that's when you end up depressed. That's when you end up sad and you don't know why. When you can really nail it and go, all right, this sadness it's creating more desire within me to spend more time with the people I love. That's it. And that desire will help me to manifest more time with the people that I love. In fact, I saw my kids more, my two girls that don't live with us, I saw them more this year than I did before, because I'm manifesting that, because I've decided, right? So when we're talking about identity creation and actually becoming that new being, right? You have to look at yourself and say, okay, let me think of an example. Okay, if I am the type of person who, I I want to think of something different than exercise, because I always use that as an example, because it was like the clearest example I had to changing my identity and becoming someone who rarely takes a whole week off from the gym. Like, my family was here, but we exercised. We actually walked. We did a lot of hiking. So because of that, and coming from, I've always been a person who really values exercise, but there have been moments in my life where I would let it go for a while. And I knew that I wasn't living from the framework or the identity of who I wanted to be. So let's use abundance. I'm going to use abundance this time, because I think, there's been some up levels there. So when it comes to abundance and being a person who identifies with abundance, it is very clear to me how I have de-identified with an abundant person in the past. And I can see it in other people's experiences. I can hear it. I can hear the energy field of people who, say they don't have enough money. They're broke, or, they don't have money for their bills, or they don't have enough money for Christmas. They're stressed out because the holiday just puts so much more pressure on them. And I have been there. So I get it. I really get it. I get the slim pickings at Christmas. And this year, we did a little different thing where we actually did more engagement of things that we loved and shared how we love one another than just like random presents. And that felt so good and so different and so smart. But as far as being an abundant person, it's asking yourself, like, what in my life right now is stealing my abundance? What in my life right now is taking me out of the feeling of being abundant? And of course, I got the answer. It's like my bank account, right? Or like the income that we have coming in, and then the outcome. Like they're not working, right? Been there, done that. So what do I have to do to up level the way that I'm feeling and to create more feelings of abundance in my life? What do I have to do? So you have to work on the internal framework first before you can actualize it, before it can, remember the wave behind me, it's got to break down. The energy has to break down to become physical. And that takes a little time. In that time, in that space, that's where the real work is. That's where the real manifestation energy is, because there's still stuff coming at you, right? There's still bills coming at you. There's still things happening. There's still money going out. There's still feelings to be had. What is the feeling that you have when the money is going out? What is the feeling that you have when you're spending? That all is in conjunction with the abundance that you are allowed to create, that you are letting in. So we have recently experienced somewhat of an up level in this, and I can see where it has thrown me off before. And definitely at Christmas time, no matter how much money we have, doesn't matter, I would feel stressed about spending so much. And every year it works out. Every year it's fine. Every year we do okay, right? But I realized that stress equated to how much debt we would be in afterwards. And this year it was very different. I was more intentional with the way I spent, the way I felt about it, the excitement I felt. There's a feeling that I need to address, because I know lots of moms that feel this way, and I know my daughter definitely feels this way. And it's that feeling that we don't have enough, that we didn't buy our kids enough, and they're going to be disappointed. And I told my daughter this time, if you feel that way, then it will never be enough. It will never be enough. And the reflection she's going to give to you is that it wasn't enough. And then you're going to feel bad. So I had a moment of that, and I thought I was over it. And then I had a moment of it, and it usually comes like right before, like the day or two before, where you're like, ugh. I really worked hard to not do even Steven with my kids, which I usually do, to just be in the energy field of what felt right and intuitively buying them stuff and things like that. But I reflected on that feeling, and I actually bought something in that feeling. I bought two things in that feeling, and both of those things got returned. So your feeling and your energy around the gift really matters. Your feeling and your energy around the holiday really matters. And your feeling and your energy around this year really matters right now. You are creating this year right now by what you're doing, by what you're feeling, by who you are, by what you say, and by how you get up every day. So if you really want to work on the framework of becoming new this year, of really becoming abundant, of being in your best body, of being in your best energy and being in your best relationships, if you want all of that, who do you have to be? Who do you have to be? And you're not going to be doing this from the idea that, oh, if I'm the best possible wife, then my husband will be the best. That's not how it works. Many, many people have fallen short on that energy because you have to be a match. You have to be a vibrational match for the energy, and so do they. So the energy of having the best relationship is, how am I my best? Not, I'm going to do my best so that person will give me their best. No, that's not how it works. I'm just going to be my best. And if anyone, and I'm going to let other people be what they need to be. This has worked really, really awesome in my marriage. And it's because I think we both show up with that energy. We both want to be our best. So if you're not in a relationship where the other person necessarily wants to be their best, then just be your best and see how it goes. Because a lot of times their vibration will raise with yours. A lot of times they will look at what you're doing and see the example of what you're doing. If you're not judging them and you're not trying to get them to do things, they will be able to step into their brilliance, their genius, because you're giving them the space to do it and you're shining a light of how it's done. All right, so you're going to begin by writing down on two columns. You're going to write down the first thing you're going to do is close your eyes and go into your heart. So just for a second, just come with me for a second. Just close your eyes. And I want you to take a deep breath. And I want you to draw your attention into your heart space. I want you to drop into your heart space. And I just want you to breathe for a few minutes to allow your mind to clear. Anytime you want your mind to clear, just focus on your breathing. Focus on that breath coming in and focus on your chest, on your heart. And I want you to, before you write this list, connect with your heart, engage and ask yourself how you're feeling right now, how you're feeling about this exercise, how you're feeling about what you're about to write down. And most importantly, how you want to feel waking up every single day, who you want to be, how you want to feel. So the first column is how you want to feel and who you want to be. So write down your feelings and you're going to write down who you want to be. So if you want to be a successful writer, I'll just use writing. That's easy for me. If you want to be a successful writer, write that down. If you want to be a successful musician, write that down. All of the things that you want to be. If you want to be a triathlete, if you want to be a healthy, fit, and strong person, if you want to be alcohol-free, whatever you want to be, write those things down. If you want to be sugar-free, all of the things that you can use this to let go of things as well. So write those things down, especially if you've had addictions or whatnot. Okay. All right. And then the second column, you're going to write down the activities that are going to help you engage with and impact that identity. So it might be meditation, it might be exercise, it might be time for creativity, it might be writing, it might be pottery, it might be painting, it might be spending more time in quiet, really in peace, in nature, just all the things that you do or can do that actually raise your vibration. Listening to beautiful music, basking in beautiful food, cooking for yourself, self-love, baths, whatever it is that will help you to connect with that identity of who you most want to be. Now, each day you're going to do these things. It doesn't mean you're going to do every single thing every single day, but you're going to engage with the activities that are of your highest excitement. And what I mean by that is you're going to wake up in the morning and, number one success in this whole deal would be to get up before you normally do. There are identities that you need to let go of to do that. Like, I am not a morning person. If you want to be a morning person, guess what? You can do it. You can do it. You know what you do? You just get up earlier. That's it. That's what being a morning person is. You get up in the morning, you greet the day with a smile. One of my favorite things right now, we have the most incredible sunrise out of our windows, is to get up as the sun is getting up. I love that. I love that. So, what are the activities? So, for me personally, I am engaging with being the person who I decided today. This was really an interesting thing that happened today. So I didn't go to the gym this morning. I was really into writing. I got really, really excited about writing, and I just decided to write as long as it was coming through. And that was about 2 hours. And then I ate lunch, and then all of a sudden, or breakfast, like 11 o'clock, all of a sudden, 10:30, I get this inspiration. Like, I feeling very excited about doing yoga, and I'm very excited about doing hot yoga. And I have not been excited about that. I haven't really wanted to do hot yoga. So this is where it's interesting how your soul can kind of take over, because I was up against the time a little bit. I went on the app to sign up, and I couldn't pick a spot, which made me uncomfortable because I like my spot. I like to know where I'm going to be when I walk in the room. I hit every single red light on the way there, and everything in my mind was trying to get me to skip this yoga class. Oh, you could go for a walk in the woods, or you could do this, or you could do that. And I was being driven. I was literally being driven there. And as I'm in this class and I'm pouring sweat, I get this realization that this was the best thing for my energy field. I was so high after I left there, and I have so much energy right now. I just felt like that was something that I didn't think about. It was like a desire of my heart. It was of my highest excitement. And you can do that as well. You just have to get good at getting underneath the mind, which the meditation practice is going to help you to do that. All right. So, are there things that you need to let go of to do this? So that would be like saying you're not a morning person, or any kind of commentary. Actually, you just want to cut out the commentary. Like, you have to look at the identity and say, if I was an abundant person, would I engage with commentary that causes me to worry about finances? You would not. If I was the type of person who was healthy, fit, and strong, would I engage in commentary that tells me that I don't feel like moving my body? You would not. One thing that I'm really in the identity of, and I have been for a long time because it really makes me function the best, is I stretch for 15 to 20 minutes every single morning. So it's like my cuddle time with my cat, and I sit on the floor and I stretch in the morning. It's the first thing that I do because it gets my body moving. So I'm a flexible person. That's the identity. I'm a flexible person. Do I think about stretching? No. Do I skip it sometimes? Every once in a while, if I have a busy morning, possibly. But for the most part, that is the identity of who I am. So ask yourself, who am I? Who do I want to be? And then what does that person do? And then don't engage with commentary that goes against it. Commentary within your own mind needs to be tuned into in order for it to manifest for you. So this goes along with addictions, things you're trying to give up, possibly sugar, alcohol, bad habits, whatever it is. Actually, those things that I like to call dopamine dumps, really working on that. So I've really been conscious about how often I go on social media, how often I scroll, and I've been really, really conscious. I think of course I've had company, but I think I went down like 40% last week because it's important to me. It's important to me that I don't spend time dumping my dopamine on social media, and that I get caught in that addictive quality of scrolling. So there's things that dump your dopamine. And knowing what that trigger is for you. So if it's like cutting your social media in half, or cutting your alcohol in half, or cutting alcohol out altogether, or sugar, or whatever it is that really triggers you and makes you feel like you have to do this thing to feel better, that is a great way to de-identify with those things that aren't part of your new identity, right? Like potato chips. I don't eat potato chips. I just don't. It's just not who I am. Donuts, do nuts, don't eat them. Okay. So it's like understanding that, like, that's not who I am. That's not what I do, can really help you to keep engaging with that new identity of who you want to be. All right. So your resolutions will peter out if you don't re-engage with why you're doing them and connect the dots to becoming the person that does. So connecting the dots to becoming the person that does means you let go of the person that you were and you become someone new, which means you have to have new thoughts, you have to have new attitudes, you have to have new awarenesses and new intentions and new habits. You have to have new habits. A habit is, it's really easy to connect with the good ones when you let the bad ones go, or the ones they're not necessarily bad. They're the ones that are derailing you. So look at your habits and decide which ones throw you off the track of your good vibrations. The ones that derail you, that make you beat yourself up, that make you feel bad about yourself, that mess with your brain, don't help you be clear-minded, that don't help you to feel excitement and creativity in your life. Just start letting those go. All right. So here is ideas. I wanted to include some ideas for raising your vibration, because maybe you don't know. Maybe it's the first time you've ever watched my show and you don't know how to actually raise the energy field of what you are experiencing on a daily basis. I had a moment recently. We went out to dinner to like one of our favorite places, and it's outdoors, so it's a little bit chilly, and we were with a couple of our kids and my daughter's husband, and our favorite duo was playing. And they're so much fun. They're such a great band. And I had a glass of wine, a beautiful glass of wine, and I had a beautiful dinner in front of me. I had a heater in front of me, and I had a heater to my right. And I just thought, wow. And, one of the reasons why was because we manifested this spot, because we got there early enough. Like, everything was just ease and flow, and we got exactly what we wanted and what we intended for that evening. And it was the last night my daughter was going to be here, and we had a blast. We danced all night. We laughed. Oh my gosh, we just had so much fun. And I had a moment where I was sitting there and I was like, this is it. Like, this is what I share so passionately. This is it. Like, the perfection of this moment and all I am experiencing is because of the way I live my life on a moment to moment basis. And I don't say this to brag. I say this to let you know that it's completely, completely possible for you. If you follow these steps, it's completely possible to you. But you've got to start letting go of the things that drop your vibration. If you have relationships that are dragging you down, they got to go. I let go of a lot of relationships this year, and it was easier than I thought it was going to be. But I had crazy awareness after I actually did it of how much those relationships were costing me, how much they were depleting my vibration, how much they were creating drama and not allowing me to be in my happy, high vibrational place, even though there were moments of high vibration. That's happened a lot in relationships where I will stay in a relationship with someone because they love me and because we laugh together. And then when I look at the overall energy of the relationship, it's not serving me and it's not serving my highest and best excitement or where I want to go in my life. So you got to look at that. I'm not saying drop all your friends. What I'm saying is just be more precious with your time. and be unapologetic about where you spend your time and allow yourself to let go of those things, people, places, shows, whatever it is that brings you down, that causes you to worry, that causes you to have concern, that causes you to not be in a place where you feel appreciation and gratitude and you see the beauty of the world that you live in. All right. Here's a few things that you can do to raise your vibration. These are things that work, people. These are things that shift the energy field and the potentiality of the energy field around you. Meditation. You knew I was going to say it. 10 to 20 minutes per day of quiet or a guided meditation. We have the M21 Revolution on Facebook. Just search in the search bar for M21 Revolution and join our group. We have hundreds of meditations in there, hundreds of challenges, videos. There's so much good stuff in there. It's a free group. And every once in a while, we do a 21-day donation-based challenge to really solidify a meditation practice. And I feel one coming. I definitely feel one's coming. All right, exercise, move your freaking body. You got to move your body. The reason why you get sick is because you have trapped energy in your body, because you're not moving enough. You're not expressing your life force enough. Stretching is so freaking good for you. I don't care what anybody says. Stretching is so good. Half of the pain, or 85% of the pain in your body, is because you have tight muscles. Stretch, spend some time stretching. There's great stretching exercises on YouTube. That's where I found my routine. Yoga, love me some yoga. I feel like yoga is like close to doing drugs. I really do. Like I get so high, and maybe it's not your thing, but for me, I do really well with heat. My muscles really do well with heat. I love the presence of yoga, the fact that I have to pay attention to what the teacher is saying. I don't know. It's magical for me. Nature, music, anything creative. Music is a huge vibration raiser. Y'all know I'm super into reggae right now. The Elevators, Stick Figure. I love Third Coast Roots. There's a couple with Trevor Hall I love. I mean, music is elevating. It's absolutely elevating if it's the right vibration. If it's the vibration that evokes you gratitude and feeling good. If it evokes anger, that's a whole other story. Writing, drawing, painting, anything creative, even if it feels silly, anything creative. Get those creative juices flowing. I saw my daughter with this table and just how amped up she gets when she creates something. I mean, here she is, like in my backyard, spray painting on vacation. And I'm just like, she was so pumped about it. And when it came out and it was so beautiful, like that feeling is currency. It's currency when you make beautiful things. Eat lighter. That's important. Eating lighter is important. You don't want to put these heavy processed foods in our body and expect to feel good. If I overboard on the carbs, I'm exhausted. I had pancakes one day with my granddaughter and my daughter. They were gluten-free even. We all needed naps. It was intense. So watch the carb intake and the processed food, because that's not going to serve your greatest energy. Unless it does, unless your body responds well. Personally, there's like a little bit of carbs I can do, and mostly I'm do better with protein, vegetables, and fruits. Move away from triggers and addictions. If you know something's going to trigger you, don't do it right now. Stay away from it right now, because those triggers and addictions have power over you. You know what? They don't have power over you. You're allowing them to have power over you, and you can take your power back whenever you decide. Whenever you have a strong course of action to not do those things, you will feel better. And that's the thing I was thinking about. Like when we commit to like a dry January or a certain amount of time without alcohol and we stick to it, that feeling of pride and keeping promises to ourselves and having integrity with our word, that is currency. That is straight up currency. And it feels so good, and it feels so powerful, and you feel so worthy. You just feel like, yeah, I'm doing this. And it feels so much better doing that than allowing ourselves to have another drink. going into your heart more and basing your yes or no answers on how you feel. So that means when people ask you if you want to do something or ask you if you can do something for them, you say, let me think about it. I always say, let me meditate on it, but let me think about it and I'll get back to you. And when you do that, your answers will come from your heart, and you close your eyes and you say, how does that make me feel? Oh, that makes me feel excited. Okay, I'm going to do it. It's a yes. Sometimes you don't have to do that. Like sometimes things are such a hell yes that you don't even have to think about them, or you don't have to feel about them, not think about them, feel about them. But it's always a good idea to go into your heart, because we are on this automatic programming often. So we can say yes sometimes when we really should have said no. So it kind of alleviates that situation when you just take some time, you go into your heart and you ask your heart, what is in my highest excitement? Is that in my highest excitement? Do I really want to do that? And if the answer is no, then you gotta live up to that. You gotta live from that. This year promises to be great. If you do what you can do to make it that way, if you decide, if you let go of the things that are derailing you, if you decide and make a decision that has more to do about who you are than what you do. Because if you become that identity and you resonate with that vibration and you spend time engaging with that vibration, like engaging with the vibration of abundance means you notice how good things are. You notice the beauty in the sky. You notice the beautiful landscape. You notice the beauty in the eyes of the people you love. You notice what is great here now. That is tuning into abundance and letting go of that feeling of poverty or not having enough or all of that is a practice in tuning your vibration towards your new identity, which is letting it go. And sometimes you got to let it go a million freaking times. Sometimes you got to interrupt these things so many times because you have such a habit. You have a habitual vibration. You have a habitual state of being. And if that state of being isn't somewhat elevated, it's going to keep working to bring you down until you de-identify with it, until you say no more. I'm not going to do that substance. I'm not going to watch that news program. I'm putting my foot down on the things that bring me down and raising your vibration throughout to foster a connection to your true self. Yeah, I just want to just quickly engage with the social media thing, because I see it a lot, even in my own home, which we're all very conscious, but I can imagine the homes that aren't conscious, but I see it all around. I see people not present to life because they're on their phone, and it floors me. I just want to say, stop. Wake up. You're dumping your dopamine, man, and you're not going to have the best life because you got a virtual life going on. So really this year, if you can do anything, back away from that. So letting go of anything that you may feel is not in your control and derails your new identity needs to be let go of. That's what will foster a new relationship with your new identity, by letting go of the things that have been derailing you. So it's not really about resolutions. It's really about becoming someone new, about deciding this is who you are now and moving from that energy, not from what you need to do, but from who you are. All right, guys, that's my show for today. I am working on a community piece right now for everyone, or all those that want to come in. There will be a small subscription involved in it, but it will be more one-on-one with me, more group with me, more engagement with me, and more individualized attention where you're able to ask questions and be in a community full of support. If you are interested in learning more about identity creation and creating the best life possible, I'm not going to say I've all figured out, but dang, I'm on a train and I want you on it with me. That's the whole freaking reason I do this show, because I know that this stuff works and I just want as many people to realize it as I do, because I want to go out in the world and have fun with all the people around me. I really do. It's so much fun. All right, you guys, you can get Mindful Manifestation Secrets on Amazon, Mindful Manifestation Secrets Daily Guide and Journal also on Amazon, and Quantum Speak for Parents is on Amazon. Those are my 3 books right now. Working on a 4th. Cannot wait to share that one with you. I hope you are experiencing the best possible life here, and peace. I'll see you on the next show. Love y'all.